Those of you who may know my name, it's Jeromie Charpentier, and those of you who don't, I am a guitar player, guitarist, and I've decided that I've spent a lot of time goofing off when I could have been practicing. When I was in my teens, back in the 80s, I was a aspiring guitar player, and I had a work ethic, and I would work, and I got to be pretty good, but I'm at the point now where I'm 44, and I was hoping I would be a lot better today, and I'm looking back, taking a hard, long look and saying I'm not better because I lost my work ethic, and there was a lot of things that I was not doing, and I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm going to start from today, and I realized that I may have something to offer the music community as well, and it's one of the reasons I'm doing this video today, for myself and for anyone who may watch and may benefit from this lesson. When I started out playing guitar, I just knew chords, and they were in a book. It was a Roy Clark guitar method, and if anybody has ever remembered Roy Clark, the man could play almost every instrument, but he was a really good guitar player, and the method that he had was given to me as a young kid, and that's when I started. For the past couple of nights, I've been listening to instrumental guitar songs, and I realized that when I first heard them in the 80s, I had a mindset I could never do that. And one thing that I know today is that if you say you can't do it, you won't do it. Now, maybe at the time I didn't have the skills or the self-esteem to push forward. Today is a little different. I've been playing. I never stopped. I never wanted to stop playing. Maybe it was my ego, I always wanted people to come up to me and say, "Are you still playing?" And I never wanted to say no. So whether I was practicing extremely or just playing a little here and there, I was playing and I never stopped. So today I decided I would get a little courage and try to tackle something that was a little more difficult than usual, a little something out of my range, and I decided I would try to learn a lick from a master on the guitar named Aboutyngwie Malmsteen. And I remember when I was first exposed to Yngwie, no one could say his name. He was Swedish, and it was spelled Yngwie, and everyone thought it was Yngwie, and we had to learn the pronunciation later on that it was actually Yngwie. He had a more classical approach to his playing that a few guitar players were trying to emulate and incorporate, and I only had a small sample of that. And what I mean is, sorry, I'm jumping around here. Let's say if one was to play a minor thing, which consists of, like, say, the root note E and F sharp G, A, B, C, D, and would end it with a D sharp or E flat, which gave it its classical feel. See what I mean? And a lot of his style was like that. Like, you know, and that's actually an excerpt from Far Beyond the Sun, not in that octave. It's a little lower. It's like a. So, anyways, there's this lick that comes in, and it's just mind-blowing to me. And it was. And I thought, oh, I could never do it. Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you say you can never do something, you will never do it. And back then, I didn't have the self-esteem or the skills. Today, my self-esteem is a lot better on guitar because I've had what they call time on instrument. So there's styles of this that may be intertwined, and it just comes down to analyzing. And I actually looked at the tablature online, and the lick goes kind of like, it's 13 to 14 really quick. Like it's a hammer and a pull off type of thing. I just want to say that I've learned about speed. When I was learning how to play guitar, and a lot of us back then, we wanted speed. We wanted to impress everybody. We wanted to be like, look how fast I can play. I remembered reading in an article, I think it was a Steve Vai or Satriani, one of the other masters that I've studied, is speed comes later. If you want the speed first, you have the cart before the horse. Now, I was always, oh, you know, I don't want to wait. I want the speed now. Well, it's important to remember that you can't get the speed until you work for it. It's more important to play it slowly and cleanly first, and the speed will come later. So as you're playing and practicing, try to remember that your speed will come eventually. So I was reading Larry Bird's autobiography the other day, and famous basketball player for the Celtics, and he said that he became great because he worked on his weaknesses. And I think to be great on guitar, the philosophy is similar. So this lick, breaking it down, I know that I'm quite adept at this, but the next part of that lick is 2 fret. It's a 6 fret span of 14th fret, 12th fret, 10th fret. So to add these two together, and what I was doing wrong when I first started doing it was I would downstroke, which is that way, coming off of this. I don't know if you can see that, but it's and then downstroke, you're really slowing your phrase down. That one little mistake can slow your speed down. So to look at that weakness and be strong enough to try to make it into a strength, to work on that. If you're weak on the free throw line, you'll go to the free throw line on your own time and practice it until it becomes comfortable, so that when the game comes, you're like, I don't have free throws. And if you're weak at free throws, somebody's gonna know this and follow you, so that you have to go to the line. That's a little basketball talk, but it's no different on guitar. If you have to perform something, you have to take it in private and work on it. So if I was weak at every time I'd come off this phrase and I would upstroke it, I would need to practice. I would downstroke it. I would need to upstroke to overcome that, so that I wouldn't naturally just go to the downstroke when I really needed the upstroke. So take this phrase, sounds like Figaro, Figaro, and upstroke it. And just keep up over and over until it becomes so natural that you think less about it. See, I can talk and do it because I've gotten so comfortable, and it's almost like my hand is doing it on its own without my thought. That's where you need to get to. So now when I come off this, I can blend them together. This whole lick is an upstroke thing. So you break it down into pieces. It's a phrase that starts on the first string, ends up on the 5th string, 8th fret. Learning it all in one time will slow your progress down. So I suggest, and you could get overwhelmed. Oh, I can't play that big thing. Poor me. By breaking it down into manageable pieces, it overcomes the perfectionism of trying to be too fast or impress, or it's just focus on the string at a time and the changes, the switching over. So the lick is basically a span of 5 strings, like I said, and the first one is, and then a 12, actually 14, 12, 10. So just worry about that for now, or any other lick you're trying to learn. And then I noticed, through being honest with what I see while I'm practicing, is that the next 3rd string run is 3 notes, and it's 13, 11, 10, which is that classical thing again. So he's like a mixture of whole note things and classical things, which blew my mind because I'm not really used to that. I'm used to either following a major type of thing or a minor thing and just strictly being that, but this is a combination of both, and I'm just like, well, okay, this is going to take some getting used to, but slowly. I can't emphasize enough, slowly first. So taking the 3 strings and breaking it down first, and on an upstroke, which I'm weak at, but the more I do it, the better. See, I'm trying to do it too fast. You see I'm making mistakes? Just slow it down and get it right first. Because if you learn it wrong, you're only going to speed it up and play it wrong faster. Just worry about those 3 frets. And then the next one I was having trouble with as well is I was looking for the easy road, which is whatever pattern I have on here, like a 1 fret span and then a 1/2 fret span. Like, I was looking to just cross over because my mind's thinking, watch how fast I can play. But that's not the proper way to do it, so I had to learn the switch between and so that if I was having trouble switching that, I would just practice that for a while. Upstrokes, of course. So if I got comfortable with that weakness and made it a strength, now I can add all 4 strings. And just play that for a while until I can get it. when I get cocky and I start playing it sloppy, probably playing it too fast, need to go back and slow it down and get confident and then speed it up. So the last part of the lick, which is the 5th string of the 5-string phrase, is like this thing, which is 12th fret, 11th fret, 9th fret, 8. I'm not used to that. I don't usually do that. I'm usually this or that. I'm not used to. Like I said, if you're not used to it, this is an opportunity to learn, to get used to it, to practice it, so that I'm familiar with that, and then I can add it to the playing later on, but only slow first and add it. So I'm going to try to add all 5 strings slowly, of course. Did the last one wrong, so I see I don't have it. Keep practicing, maybe 10 times till it's ingrained, and it becomes, this phrase becomes like knowing how to play a string. When you first started learning how to play a string, it was like, okay, that's E. You need to remember that. That's E. And this whole phrase, practiced slowly and cleanly, can be sped up later, and the whole thing becomes like knowing a string. Instead of, oh, that's a huge Yngwie run I could never play. No, you can play it if you break it down. So have patience with yourself, and when you can play the whole thing cleanly and slowly at a lower tempo, turn the metronome up a couple notches, and then play it a little faster. When you get comfortable with that, turn it up a couple more notches. By next week you'll be. But for now, put the time in, play it slow, play it cleanly and evenly, and you'll be a master. But hopefully you get hungry and you don't decide that that's it, I'm done, I'm never playing anything harder. Look for something harder in the future. And remember, by the inch it's a cinch, by the yard it's hard. If you look at a lick and go, oh my God, I'll never play that, well, you won't. But if you break it down into manageable pieces, sorry for the faces, you'll succeed. Thank you for your time.